This tutorial is the first in the series of 2 tutorials about making random gradients in Figma using generator. Now this first one is going to be using randomized objects, and the next one is going to be using gradients. So with this method you can not only make gradients, but it also works really well for things like mood boards and other things as far as inspiration. So let's see how to make this from scratch. We will start with a frame. Now I already had it set up, so we're just going to do the same size. We're going to make it 600 by 900. You can then change it, obviously. And we're going to give it a random background color. So when you just drag out the color here, you get Figma's default value of D9, D9, D9. Or you can go here and get one of the preset colors for an easy selection. Or you can hold Alt and you see that there's a question mark that appears, and then you drag out a random color. So I'm going to plug that in here. If you don't like this random color, you can always go in here and just, like you can type in HTML color names, you can also type in random. Oof. Or R&D, which does the same thing. There we go. We'll stick with pink for now. And now that we have the frame, let's add some shapes. I'm going to go with rectangles. You can add whatever you want. Rectangles work well. They're going to be blurred anyway. Let's give it a random color. Once again, this is not the best. Let's go with a different random color. Yeah, right, that's fine for now. And we will set both of these to hue so that we can change the color. There we go. Now we want to scatter these rectangles and rotate and size them randomly. So let's start with move. Then we will rotate, and then we will scale. And then we will repeat, because we want a bunch of them. So now that we have 5 rectangles here, we're going to plug them into the objects parameter of the frame. And double click the frame so that that's all we see. And now we need to randomize it. To do that, we get a random value, a random node, and we plug it into the X position. Now the frame is from 0 to 600, so I'm going to say 0 to 600. I'm going to copy this, scroll up here with my mouse wheel to get a different seed, plug this into the Y, but this max is going to be 900. Right, let's get some more objects. Then we're going to add a random to the rotation. And this is going to go from 0 to 360. Again, you can set whatever values you want. I'm just giving you a basic example. And then we're going to scale. So I'm going to get 2 randoms, change their seeds again. In a minute, we're going to randomize the seeds as well, like we did in the previous video, but for now we'll do it by hand. And then we get this. So this is the beginning of our gradient. Let's straight away set up a seed pool. So we'll go random, repeat. Whoops, not rectangle, repeat, and list. And how many randoms are we going to have? We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's fine for now. We're going to plug this into here, plug this into here. And what I'm doing is I got a list of random values that I'm using as the seeds for the random generators downstream. There we go. This I plug into here. This goes in here. I have a feature planned for one of the future releases that will make this connection process a lot easier. So there we go. Now that we have a seed pool, we can just randomize everything by changing this one value. So this is the basis of how our gradient is going to be structured. This is something a lot of people do in Figma by hand right now, but Generator allows you to do this automatically and get a lot of variation really quickly. Now, I want to randomize these colors as well. So I'm going to go get a random node. This already has a nice different seed, so I'm going to plug that into here, into the hue. And to start with, I'll do it from 0 to 360 to just get a lot of random variation. I will also add a random hue to the frame as the base color. There we go. With a different seed. Then I will add 2 more seeds to my pool to get one for here. So now I get random colors. And one for here. So I also get a random background color. Let's see how this works. That's not bad. The only thing I would like to do is make the value 100 and make the saturation 100. Actually, let's leave the saturation as it is. It's all right. What was it? I'm going to undo 64. It's pretty good. And the one thing left to do is to blur them, which I'm going to do by using a combine node, because right now there's only a color that's going into the rectangle style. Let me bring this out here so it's more visible. I'm going to run this through here because there's still the bug of auto-connecting through a wire, which will be fixed. Then I'm going to add an effect, layer blur. Right, let's increase the blur. And now we're getting a nice random gradient. Let's add a little bit more shapes. Say 20, there we go. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so now we're getting some interesting variation. One more thing to make this even better is to add a layer blend node to the combine. So that means all of this stuff is now running into each rectangle. And here you can change the blend mode, right? So if you say screen, you get a different effect. But it's a lot more interesting if you randomize it per rectangle. So let's say we get a random. If you right click on this, you'll see the indices on the left. So it goes from 0 to 17, and we can plug that in here. And then we connect it like so. So now the effect is different because every rectangle has a different blend mode. So now let's run through some seeds and see what we get. And so now we're getting some more interesting, there you go, like these are pretty cool. This is not something you could typically, I mean, you could figure it out by hand, but here you're getting it for free by doing nothing. So these are pretty cool. I will disable these two for now, just so that I can work with the color a little bit. So right now I'm randomizing from 0 to 360. What I would like to do is to be able to control, to like have a main hue and then have a range from that so that the colors are a bit more narrow. You know, they're not all over the place because right now it's a bit of a circus. So the way we do that is we say, I want a number to start with. This is going to be my base hue. Then I will add some value and I will subtract some value. So this is add, this is subtract. I'm going to run this through here and through here. And I will connect it like so. And then I can run this into the minimum and this into the maximum. So at first it's going to be all red, right? That makes sense. As I change this number, all of them change simultaneously. But if I now increase the spread, now I'm getting colors that are around the color that I want, but not exactly the color that I want. Also, what I can do is I can run the same wires to this random, which is for the background color. So now not only the rectangles have this hue with this spread, but also the background color. And now my gradient is a lot more controlled. The last thing I need to do is to randomize this base value. So I can get a random value like so. I can either plug it into here directly, but I'm just going to plug it into here for now. There we go. And now I'll say 0 to 360. So now when I randomize this, so I feel like this is not exactly clamped. And I think the reason that is because this random is being pulled first by this rectangle and second by this by the frame. So what we need to do is to freeze this, and we do that by inserting a freeze node. So now we can increase the spread again. There we go. And now let's run through some seeds. Yeah, that's a lot better. So now the randomness of the colors is more controlled. I think we can go and get another seed from the pool, connect it to here. And re-enable the blur and the blend by doing this. There we go. So now let's run through some seeds here. And we're getting some very interesting results. If the gradients are too uniform, we can again go back over here, increase the spread. And there you go, random gradients in Figma using generator. I could really do this all day. This is so much fun. All right, that's enough.